Let me tell you the story of how I lost my home, then found something a whole lot deeper in the wreckage. Picture this. It's a Thursday too early for anything but coffee, and there's Karen Baldwin standing on the wooden deck of my lake cabin with that smug grin she wears like armor clipboard in hand, acting like it's the scepter of her kingdom. Next to her, a stranger bald, tall, sharp suit and a ring of keys dangling from his finger gives me this slow nod like I'm some inconvenience. My boots hit the gravel hard. "This is trespassing," I shout. Karen turns, smile frozen in place. "Oh, hi, Nathan. This is Mr. Conway. He just bought the cabin." She says it casual like she's announcing lunch. My chest goes tight. "Excuse me." "Sold it through the HOA," she chirps, flipping through her papers. "My own cabin, my family's cabin, suddenly not mine." I hadn't signed a thing. But here's this Conway holding keys to my life. "You can't sell what you don't own," I tell them, stepping right up on that porch. For the first time, Karen's smile slips. "Well, you failed to meet our aesthetic guidelines. Multiple violations. After 30 days, we deemed the property abandoned." Abandoned, I almost laugh. My canoe's still tied up, my dog's bowl still on the porch. I'd only been gone a week, fishing. Conway doesn't hesitate. He whips out his phone and calls the sheriff. "There's a hostile man here refusing to leave my property." My property. I almost choke on it. I stood there trying to swallow the fact they were calling the cops on me on my own land. But here's what nobody in Willow Pines knows I own, more than just this cabin. I own the lake, half the land these folks built their dreams on the roads under their shiny SUVs. And I wasn't letting this go. Let me back up a sec. 3 months earlier, I'd just retired after 32 years as a civil engineer, my wife Denise. God, I miss her past 2 years ago, and I spent a lonely year grieving. Then I packed up and moved to our old family cabin up in North Georgia. It's nothing fancy. Creaky boards, faded paint, the kind of place that soaks up quiet. It was supposed to be peace, you know. Denise loved the water, the birds that slow mist in the morning. But the neighborhood had changed. Some developer built Willow Pine Shores, a gated community, and the HOA decided their reach didn't end at the gates. That's how I met Karen. 60-something pearls, even on garbage day, sun hat as wide as a satellite dish, drove her golf cart like a Bentley. First visit, she dropped a stack of papers in my hands. "You're part of Willow Pine's exterior oversight now. Basic stuff, lawn paint, dock materials." I told her, "This cabin's been here since before Willow Pines was a twinkle in anyone's eye." She blinked, didn't hear no often. Week later, I get a fine $75 for untrimmed bushes. Then another $125 for dock paint. I figured it was some mix-up, ignored the letters, but they kept coming. No answer at the HOA office, so I marched to their fancy clubhouse. Looked like a resort. There's Karen behind a desk acting like Queen of England. "Did you finally decide to cooperate, Mr. Grayson?" she says. "Cooperate with what your land touches community water, so we enforce compliance." I told her, "You can't legally fine me. This place was built before your bylaws existed." She leans in with that fake smile, slides a real estate flyer my way. "Maybe you should consider selling." From that day, it was war. My mailbox knocked down trees trimmed without my say-so. A for sale sign I never put up, ripped that out myself. Left for a fishing trip with Walter, my old friend. Came back to change locks, a private property sign nailed to my own front door, and now Karen selling my home under my nose. But here's the kicker. I never transferred lake ownership to Willow Pines. Sold them road access, sure, but kept the deed to the lake shoreline and every utility buried beneath their lawns. Denise wanted the land protected, so I put it in a conservation trust. Meaning their sidewalks, docks, power lines, even the internet ran through what I still owned quietly, legally. That day when Sheriff Dale showed up, I handed him my folder, deeds maps, the works. "You never told me you owned half the shoreline," Dale muttered, flipping through. Didn't think it mattered till now, I shrugged. Karen's confidence cracked for the first time. We followed procedure, she said. No, you didn't? I replied. Next morning, I filed a civil complaint, called the trust lawyer, and reached out to an Atlanta developer. If they wanted games, I'd sell the land beneath their feet. That night, I caught someone breaking in creak of floorboard shadow in the kitchen. I gripped my old Louisville Slugger and caught a glimpse as they bolted, dropped a pry bar, vanished into the night. Sheriff Dale dusted it for prints. You still going through with the land deal? He asked. Oh, I'm past the planning phase, I said. At the diner next morning, Walter grinned over his coffee. Turns out Willow Pines built their front gate security shed, even the maintenance barn on your land. Then it's time they paid rent, I joked. You sure you want to sell? Walter asked. Not all of it, just enough to make them sweat. Prescott, the developer, wanted a retirement retreat, eco-friendly, no HOA. You're about to turn Willow Pines into the neighbor of a public lakefront. Walter's eyes twinkled. That's the plan, I said. Prescott's crew showed up, surveying, measuring, lawyers in tow. Karen lost it, shrieking about bylaws. Prescott just handed her papers. Actually, ma'am, we've leased conservation land from Mr. Grayson. Her face went red as a tomato. Cease and desist letters followed. I sent them my deed in a sticky note. Update your bylaws. Then came the twist-forged paperwork. The HOA claimed I'd abandoned my cabin, using it to sell to Conway. This was organized theft. Walter and I dug deep, letters, photos, voicemails, every piece of HOA fraud we could find, filed a lawsuit, sent everything to Sheriff Dale. And just when I thought I had them cornered, Prescott found the power transformer for the whole neighborhood sitting squarely on my land with no easement. Means you could cut them off any time, he said. I smiled. Let's make this official. Karen tried to fight, scribbled threats on my truck windshield, called the cops every week. But Dale sided with the law. When my evidence was stolen, Conway breaking in caught on my hidden cameras. Dale promised a warrant. I called Channel 7 News, told my story on camera. The piece aired, neighbors rebelled, HOA offices padlocked, and the county started sniffing around Conway's fake environmental trust. But Conway hit back hard. Hacked my email, forged messages, making me look like the crook. Cops showed up with a search warrant, ransacked the cab, and even smudged Denise's old quilt with their gloves. God, that one stung. Walter showed up. They're accusing you of land laundering. They want to foreclose again. That was the final straw. I called Channel 7 for round 2, and an old buddy, Ronnie Briggs, licensed to manage municipal transformers. You could bankrupt their HOA. Ronnie whistled after I showed him the map. That was the plan. We filed a claim for $162,000, 10 years of back rent for unauthorized utility usage. HOA reserves $30,000 maybe. Glenn, the interim president, almost fainted. I filed for zoning reclassification, triggered a county inspection. When the power went out in Willow Pines for 5 hours, I sat on my porch, drinking tea cabin lights, humming off Denise's old solar panel. Karen called the police, screamed sabotage, but Dale was done with her. He owns the land. He followed the rules. You ignored them. Then Walter called judge assigned to our case as Conway's cousin. My stomach dropped. In court, Walter demanded the judge recuse himself. Denied, of course. But then Walter dropped all the evidence, deeds, surveillance, payment records, and a notarized letter about the transformer. If the court won't recuse, we're filing a complaint with the Ethics Commission. The judge blinked, called a 48-hour recess, and a new judge was appointed. During recess, the HOA filed a neighborhood emergency, tried to dissolve and shift all assets to Conway. But Walter and I filed a second suit with the Land Commission, putting a lien on the transformer. No transformer, no development. We even discovered Karen's own deck violated county buffer zones grounds for demolition. When the news broke, everything snowballed. Channel 7 ran the expose, fraud, mismanagement, fake trusts. State investigators started circling. Karen and Conway faced new charges. Then Dale called Nathan. Your cabin's on fire. My world flipped upside down. Smoke rose above the trees as I sped toward home, sirens, flames, my knees hitting the ground. All that was left was ash, the outline of a life burned but not erased. Arson clear as day, caught on camera. Black SUV, same one Conway used. But he forgot land doesn't burn. In court, the new judge's ruling was swift. My rights restored, sale void, HOA dissolved, assets liquidated. Conway referred for criminal prosecution. Karen's home sold at auction. Conway arrested for fraud and arson. Prescott opened the land to honest homeowners, no HOA, just neighbors. We rebuilt my cabin the old-fashioned way, friends' hammers, laughter. Denise's photo, burned at the edges, but still there. Walter sat with me on the porch one night, stars out over the water. "Think they'll ever try again?" he asked. I shook my head. "Not after what we did." He smiled. "Feels like a movie." "No," I said, "feels like justice." If you've ever stood your ground when the world tried to take what's yours, this one's for you. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done? Where's the line between justice and revenge? Like, share, and subscribe. If you believe sometimes you've got to fight for what matters, even if it means owning the ground under their feet.